Hello, I'm Wendy Wustenberg,
And I'm Lauren Wustenberg.
and we're together at the marsh overlook that's on the Raccoon Trail, right by that first parking lot as you first come into Riverbend. This is where our family worked together in 2005 to build this bench in front of one of the most beautiful places in the entire nature center. The overlook where deer and migratory birds and reptiles all inhabit this wetland that's behind us right now. It's a wonderful place to connect to all the 10 miles of trails here at Riverbend. There's a lot of people who make this a regular starting place or ending place to their trip. We had a request from my mother in 2005 to build this as a memorial to her. After living for 18 years with cancer, she gathered us around and said she wanted us to come to Riverbend and find out if they had some needs. I can promise you that even today they have a list of needs. And what we discovered is this was a very healing way for our family to get together with friends and in a weekend construct something that lasts to this day. One of the other things Mom insisted on was that we come back and maintain this because 750 acres is a lot to take care of and there's always something to do. As she said to us, I love nature, but not too much nature, and she wanted to make sure that this was a place where it could be a resting spot where people could relax and really get in tune. That was a responsibility that we took on and inherited. And someday, and already I must say, we're going to insist that it get passed along as a mantle that you're going to wear from your grandmother.
Yeah, that's definitely the case. And as a young person, I can speak for a long time about how wonderful it is to be connected to a natural area and a conservation area that is so close to home. I have a background as an environmentalist, and for anyone who's interested in environmental issues, who's ever had a concern for the state of our natural world, this is a great place to start. Riverbend is a wonderful place to start with that stewardship. Even if it's just one day a year, even if it's just a short volunteering program, unless you get more interested and you want to become a member and become regularly involved, that's even better. We've adopted this small postage stamp on the 750 acre conservation area, and there's much more work to be done in other parts as well.
Yeah, I say start with the membership and then call them and they'll plug you into something. This area has a lot of history. In fact, part of the reason that our family is so beholden to Riverbend is due to the fact that this area for generations fed the families that stayed at the Faribault State Hospital. In 1935, my grandmother, Ruth Morris, came from Canada and came to work here as a head cook. She was here for 30-some years before she became a foster grandparent. In about 1975 and 6, the last executive director was my first cousin, Bill Sauffer Jr., who was part of transitioning from the state hospital residential facility then into the Faribault State Prison that exists today. This land provided the food for all the people who lived at the state hospital. It was a farm. And for those of us who were lucky enough to live in a rural area, I can remember riding my horse around here long before it was a protected park, down to the beautiful river. We'd ride our horses down in there in the cool part of the summer, and the horses would just let the river run right over their ears while we hung onto their tails and floated. And then we'd ride back on up through Teepetonka Park and come back up. There's some beautiful areas in the spring. We saw dame's rockets in bloom all over the field that's close to Teepetonka. Once you've seen a site like that, you just couldn't ever imagine houses being here. And so when our family joined the many founders who made sure that this land stayed open and available to the public, and it's a commitment that is as much a big part of the future of Faribault as it has been the past.
We have an ongoing sense of stewardship to this place, and part of that is constantly learning about new ways to help people connect with nature. Part of that process this year has been taking out a bunch of invasive species around this marsh overlook and replanting with all native plants. Over the next few years, I encourage everyone to come back and see how these plants get settled in, see the pollinators that come to this place, and maybe think up a couple ways that you could give back to Riverbend while you're enjoying the beauty all around us.